to talk about healthcare and artists. And healthcare for artists.
All the sighing we're doing. Build a dock for paper, always singing the right note.
So right now I'm working on this video on my friend Jen Gooch. And Jen Gooch is a conceptual artist who went to Carnegie Mellon University, which is one of the best art schools in the country. It's here in Pittsburgh. And she's also a musician. This day when I went to film her, she played this really cool song on guitar called Everything Will Probably Be Fine. And so when I went to film her, and it was kind of a struggle to find out how to like present her and all the different things she does. She's also a crafter. She quilts, she makes hats and stuff. So to try to like wrap up this artist in 5 minutes is really hard to do. And then to touch on like her lifestyle, including the issue of healthcare, which is what the Healthy Artist series focuses on.
Economically, the best thing that we could offer our citizens is healthcare, because it is as a lower income entrepreneur, it's impossible to start a small business or have your own, to be self-employed if you don't have insurance, especially if you have pre-existing conditions. The more that people hear from other Americans, the more we realize that it's the only way that we can really be free.
I think it's a great project and a great exploration to get creative people, to get artists on video talking about the issues and obstacles they've had to overcome concerning healthcare.
I think it's a really interesting concept. I don't know that there's anything like this, where it's connecting a whole group of people who are working toward a common goal, who also have a common problem, which is universal and not just relating to artists, but it gives artists, a vehicle to talk about an issue that maybe kind of usually gets pushed down below the surface.
My name is Cy Meltingstar, and I'm a 28-year-old artist from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I do installation art, mixed media paintings, music, video, performance art, outdoor art. I have Crohn's disease. I am currently uninsured. Right now, I keep the Crohn's disease under control with my diet, but if something ever happened where it intensified or I had a severe flare-up, I really don't know what I would do. I mean, I guess I would go to the hospital and then spend the rest of my life in debt.
Right now we have about 30 videos, which is crazy to me because a year ago, I remember just asking a few friends like, hey, could I film you for like a mini documentary to put online? And I want you to talk about your work, and I also want to know your healthcare situation. And they'd be like, oh, okay, like, well, what do you mean? And I would say, well, do you know about universal healthcare? Do you know about the state of healthcare in America and other countries? And a lot of them immediately knew what to kind of how to respond to that.
I made too much money to be covered by the state programs, but I didn't make enough money to afford the good health care. So I was at this funny in-between.
I have friends that do like music that haven't been to a doctor in like 20 years because they can't afford it.
I've been working in this part-time nonprofit job for a decade, and I've never had health care through that job.
I can't dependably pay for it because I'm generally working paycheck to paycheck.
They could be a freestanding documentary series just profiling these artists, but whenever you actually tie it in with a real issue that's affecting the lives of these people and also the people watching the documentary series, then it becomes even something greater than just a profile of artists. And that's the thing too, I probably wouldn't have thought about health insurance as much as I have if it weren't for Healthy Artists.
Julie's project is more awareness raising and activism, because there's a piece, and she's been interested in, she started her healthcare activist work with Healthcare for All PA, and she's really interested in universal healthcare.
I mean, in general, it seems like a no-brainer that one of the richest nations in the world should provide healthcare to all its citizens, and you see that happening in France, Germany, the UK, Canada, etc. So there's that idea, which is kind of more abstract. And then from a personal level, you know, I'm underinsured. Most of my friends are underinsured. So this kind of like got out of hand. I was just trying to film friends, you're talking about being uninsured and see where that would go. It wasn't like my main energy was being used towards that in my life, but little by little, like, kept making these videos, putting them online, getting more into the idea of advocacy outside of the internet, you know, having events. In the last year, the project had rapidly started to expand, and we were getting volunteers from filmmakers to artists to college students who were coming on board to help in various ways, and it was becoming, I guess, more of an organization than just this documentary series. We're all film nerds. We love the Criterion Collection, we love classic movies, and we were thinking about how design plays a big part in representing a great film.
If it's going to be an ongoing documentary series, if it wants the respect and visibility that it should be getting, you really need a strong visual aspect surrounding it. We live in an extremely visual, aesthetic environment.
And so we decided that we wanted a poster to represent our documentary series, and it would be really fun to commission 20 artists in Pittsburgh to design us a poster and then have an exhibition where there were going to be winners chosen by a panel.
Well, it's a unique event. I mean, I've never had an event like this at the gallery, a jury show with such an esteemed panel of judges. So I'm excited for that, and it's a really important topic. I mean, every kind of exhibit has a theme, but nothing so necessary that deals with like people's lives, people's health, people's well-being.
This is a juried exhibition, and we already got a few judges on board. We got a curator from the Carnegie Museum of Art, we got a curator from the Warhol Museum, and that was so exciting to find out. A producer from Steeltown Film Factory who's involved in film production, and Brett Yasko, the director of design at MOCA.
Designing a poster that makes people stop and even change their opinion is like probably one of the hardest things a designer can do. I mean, think about how many posters you can think of that fall into that. It's a rare thing. So, yeah. So it's a great thing. It's just it's a hard thing to pull off.
You have to have an identity in this digital world, because your organization, your event, your whatever, your project can go viral so quickly that I think your branding has to be really strong. So if it does go viral in some way, shape, or form, everyone can go, oh wait, that's Healthy Artist.
There's a common currency of that visual language. A poster is supposed to do a certain number of things, probably in a fairly set way. But the method that different artists choose to use to approach that is just really, really diverse and I think very inspiring.
So recently I heard back from the graphic designer at the Criterion Collection, Eric Skillman, who I had sent an email to, and he said yes, he would be a judge. So then after that, I was like ready to get to promoting the exhibition. We got our judges list. So one night at 3 in the morning, I found on Flickr this like vintage Viewmaster picture, and I was like, that's it. That's how we're gonna promote.
Bill came in from the coast today. Said I got to find a place to play. Well, I now got to go. Take self goes to Mama Joe. Mama Joe, there you go. Take the poor kids in, let them play a show. Mama Joe, there you go. Take self goes to Mama Joe.
Yeah, so some of the posters have rolled in, and they look really good, and not all of them have come in yet. So I'm a little worried, like, what if people don't turn them in on time? So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. I feel bad. I'm like hounding the artists like every week. I'm like, hey guys, are you know, this just want to keep you updated. This is when they're due. And they need to turn in their digital files first so that the judges, because some of the judges are remotely operating. So the judges will weigh in, and then we're going to announce the winners on opening night. There's a first, second, and third place and prizes, cash prizes associated with those awards. But yeah, just like we need to fill the space with 20 quality posters, and hoping they come in, hoping this isn't a disaster.
Thing while you're into them that don't do much for me. Simple things.
This is what I do a lot, is comics, independent publishing. This is Andromeda, issue number 7, monthly comics anthology originating in Pittsburgh, but also collects work from all over, you know, mostly Eastern United States, but that's what's most important to me, is like helping other artists get their work out there. Part of the poster, this is just like the main illustration for the Healthy Artist poster. Kind of my basic idea here is I drew from a medical diagram of a heart, and this is like an outline of a brain, and it just kind of signifies being like healthy in heart and soul and brain and mind. And that's basically, it's real simple, just kind of signifies that.
I'm really fascinated with cartoons and grotesque, exaggerated things. I like to do these very intricate comics and illustrations with a lot of people, a lot of different things going on. It's been, you know, kind of like a Where's Waldo type of thing. With my poster for Healthy Artists, it was based on a whole environment of artists working together, doing their own independent work, but also kind of a panorama of different practices.
My name is Laurie Chalk, and I grew up in Pittsburgh, and I am a paper cut artist. The work that I do is a lot of like temporary site-specific installation. When Julie asked me to be a part of it, I was actually kind of hesitant because I don't do a lot of design work, and I just kind of wanted to use it as an opportunity to see how my work would translate into a digital format.
I do a pretty wide variety of illustration styles. It's hard to say exactly what I'm known for. I do a lot of print work. One of the books that I'm known for is Aphrodisiac, and it's a book that's a period piece set in the 70s and into the 80s, and it like samples different coloring from that time period. Because if you're familiar with printing, you can sort of like date when something was produced based on printing processes. And like a lot of that stuff's gone now, but it's very easy to recreate all of that digitally. My idea was, you know, to try to represent, you know, what's artists. And I thought of like the artist mannequin, and I wanted to have information on the poster about the Healthy Artist program. So I thought the text lent itself to that from like classic anatomy books and, you know, that have call-outs of all the body parts. Drawing the anatomy itself is just something I'm interested in, so it was a way for me to become engaged in the concept that I used for the poster.
I am Steph Neary. I am an illustrator, painter, paper macheer, crafter. I live in Pittsburgh, PA, and I moved here 6.5 years ago to go to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. When I first was asked to do this project, I didn't know what to do, and I waited till the last minute. It's not turned in yet. It's due tonight. And I had been drawing the skeleton, and I use this fabric often when I table at comic expos as like my tablecloth. And so this is a lot of cut paper. And I like to layer and layer and layer, and it's like you see in my room, kind of like over embellish things. Everyone who I know that is doing it was so like, of course I'll do it. You know, I like to make art, and I like to make art for a cause. So here's this poster for the Healthy Artist. Maybe I'll win.
Yeah, my name is Seth Clark. I'm an artist and designer based out of Pittsburgh. And I'm a print designer, dealing mostly with brand identities and books and poster design. And my art is collage-based, focused on deteriorating architecture and abandoned buildings. I think design and graphic design specifically has a lot of power, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. So, I mean, it is just a movie poster, but again, a strong poster is really going to help you dive into and watch the film with the proper understanding of what you're sitting down to watch.
I was pretty inspired that she's doing this and taking the initiative, because health insurance and issues related to that are very pertinent to artists, especially freelancers and people who are doing a lot of part-time things just to get by and don't necessarily have health insurance from their jobs. So it was a very personal issue for me, so I definitely was jumping right on board with that.
We were just talking about how the artist, you said that kind of hits home for you. Can you kind of go further on that?
Sure. Well, yeah. So I have like a chronic autoimmune disease, and because of that, I'm uninsurable at the moment. So basically, insurance companies either will charge me so much money that it's impossible for me to be insured, or they'll just deny coverage for me. So I have there are great programs in Pittsburgh, and there's ways that I get around it, but the medication that I should be taking costs like $30,000 a year, so I don't take it at the moment. So it's definitely an issue.
For my job, I work for community enrichment for Parks and Recreation, and as enriching the community, I don't have health care, and I don't understand why I'm a person that's supposed to be enriching the lives of others, and the local government's not helping to enrich my life. And I think that's pretty shitty. And that was something, when I heard about Healthy Artists, that I always wanted to say, that I work for local government, that I work for community enrichment, and my life is not being enriched, you know? I have to go to the Med Express or something.
I think it's difficult if you're an artist or a creative personality, whether you're a filmmaker or a visual artist or a digital artist, you need the freedom and the space to create. And you're not going to have that if you have to work 2 jobs to pay an insurance premium. I just don't think that's right. I don't think it is conducive to a healthy society to have people burdened that way.
I know quite a few people that are, artists or designers or even architects, like, that are trying to go out and do their own thing, and don't want to have a day job, don't want to have a 9-to-5 job, want to devote that time to their work, and are going without health insurance, or having something where the deductible is so huge to keep their monthly premium low, and it's crazy.
I think a lot of people choose jobs because they have insurance and things like that, and artists choose their passion over those comforts sometimes, and I think that can be a real risk. I think, I don't know, something should be in place for creative people in general, to have access to better health care, for sure.
But what you're saying is just human beings.
Exactly. It's not being an artist, it's just being sick. Being ill should not be a reason why you can't have insurance, but hopefully that will change soon.
The only way things change in this country is social movement. If you really go back and look, slavery wasn't ended because Lincoln had a brainstorm one day. Slavery was ended because there was pressure on him to keep the Union together, and there was pressure on him by abolitionists to end slavery. So he did. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't for it, I'm just saying pressure from the people moved these things. We didn't have an 8-hour day until pressure from the people moved the needle on labor. We didn't have a civil rights amendment until pressure from people moved the needle. We're not going to have healthcare reform until pressure from people move the needle.
I bet you take a look at these posters that are going to be produced by people who have been making artwork for a while and who really are serious about it, and serious about art and serious about their craft. And I bet you it's going to move people, and I bet you it's going to target what's really important about this issue. And I bet you it's going to provoke. And I'm really excited about that because we need that.
Just got back from setting up the show. It was really intense. All 21 artists came through. Everyone brought their poster, and the frames were kind of wonky, but we got them on, and they're hanging up at the venue right now, waiting to go tomorrow. So it's kind of like nerve-wracking. Months and months of getting this thing together, and it's just like, will anyone show up? Or I don't know. So, I mean, I know at least the artists will probably show up. Yeah, I'm just really nervous because, like, it's all about whether people are going to get to see this whole thing that we produced.
For me, the series is so interesting because it takes so many disparate stories and makes them impactful and coherent because of the sort of common thread that runs through it. I was kind of astounded by the diversity of the designs and how something that could be one common brief could elicit so many highly varied responses. And yeah, it's inspiring to see that diversity.
The designs are unbelievable. They're so beyond anything I expected, far beyond my expectation, and I can't wait to see who wins because they blew me away when I walked in this place.
I like all of the artists' work. As an organization, New Voices is looking to procure some prints and make our office space look a lot more well, it's already lively, but look more lively than it is. And you know, we're hoping to meet some artists and be involved in some collaboration here as well. So.
It garnered a lot of diverse approaches to the issue of healthcare for artists. It also tasked designers and artists with applying their own personal style to a kind of a simple underlying issue with maybe not a lot of leading questions. And so seeing the diversity of responses is really exciting, and I think it really represents the culture of the arts here in Pittsburgh.
The posters are incredible.
I can't believe what people put together for this, and they're all so very different. It's just really crazy, I guess, to get healthcare advocates who have never met these artists and young people together. That's kind of blowing my mind right now.
Does it turn out what you expected?
Yeah, it's a pretty wild turnout. Who would have thought, like, you know, a healthcare reform event gets this many people out?
The poster exhibition includes 21 artists, including 5 exceptional Pitt student artists who were nominated by their professors to participate tonight. So the judges who judged the posters tonight were Dan Byers, standing right behind me, the Richard Armstrong Curator of Modern and Contemporary Art at the Carnegie Museum of Art. There was Nicholas Chambers, the Milton Fine Curator of Art at the Warhol Museum, Eric Skillman, the graphic designer for the Criterion Collection, Lisa Smith-Reed, the producer of Steeltown Film Factory, and Brett Yasko, the director of design for the Massachusetts Museum of Contemporary Art. And with that, I'll pass it to Dan.
So, the third prize goes to Jim Rugg.
Envelope. Thank you.
The second prize goes to Seth Clark. The winner of the exhibition is Andy Scott.
After opening night, our exhibition continued from January through July 2013. It toured through various neighborhoods with our posters featured in libraries, coffee shops, and theaters around Pittsburgh. But it was when we released our posters online that our grassroots efforts started to catch some national attention. One of our posters by Jim Rugg was chosen as Print Magazine's Image of the Day. We started blogging about our project for Michael Moore. And Healthy Artist was profiled by Healthcare Finance News, a publication that reaches over 32,000 hospital CEOs and executives around the country. The state of healthcare in America continues to make headlines. In March, Time magazine released a groundbreaking expose called Bitter Pill: Why Medical Bills Are Killing Us. The report exposes the criminal discrepancy between what healthcare actually costs and the charges average Americans are expected to pay. 60% of personal bankruptcies are caused by medical bills, and the majority of medical bankruptcies happen to people least expecting it, people with health insurance. On The Daily Show, Jon Stewart called the report's release a silent spring moment for healthcare. Under the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare, states across America are working towards single payer, the kind of humane and financially sustainable healthcare we see in every other industrialized nation. The more creative people who lend their talents and stories to the reform movement, the closer we'll be to getting there.
This legislation, Senate Bill 400, and it'll have a companion piece of legislation in the House, is called the Pennsylvania Family and Business Healthcare Security Act of 2013. This comprehensive legislation within our state would provide quality medical, dental, vision, and mental health care for every Pennsylvanian.